We're in this wonderful facility, and I'm just excited about the things that we're going to be able to share. Councilmember Trayon White has arrived, so we kind of wanted to respect his time and get things going. He has some wonderful things that I believe is going to excite all of us here. If you're in this room, it's because someone believes that you have the desire and the capability to make Ward 8 one of the most exciting and loving, caring, and empowered places in the District of Columbia. So you were summoned here for an opportunity to see exactly what this council member has in store for Ward 8 and the rest of the District of Columbia, and I'm just very excited. Before we get going, however, I actually have two individuals I want to make sure you hear from. At the start, I'm going to ask Reverend Jim Dickerson to come forward and give us an opening prayer. After that, I want to ask the Executive Director, Rassan Bernard, to welcome you all to this wonderful facility called the Ark. And I don't know if this is your first time or your 100th time like me, but it's always special to be in this building, and certainly with a leader like Rassan Bernard. I'm super excited about the things in store. So Reverend Jim, can we give Reverend Jim a hand to come forward?
Welcome, everyone. And so I thank you for catching me at the door and saying what you say in the prayer. these days it's...
What happens at the door stays at the door.
My main job is thanking people and saying prayers. So that's what I do. So can we bow our heads and just grab the hand of the person next to you. We're in a wonderful community here. A community of people. It's a wonderful place. People love and know each other. And we want you to bless this community. And we want you to bless everyone who's a part of making it the special place. Unlike any other community in this city and around, actually a city that's on a hill that has a light that shows the way for other communities to go. So we thank you for this sacred space, this time that we're together. We want you to bless it. And all the people here, we give you thanks. We give you thanks for this day and for the opportunity that you've given us to do your will and to do your work. And it's in your name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. So I don't want to take a whole lot of time. I am very, very excited for all of you for being here this morning. As Tom said, this is a place of love. It's a place of light. It's a place of hope. The Ark is a humanitarian mall, period. We provide $17 million in human services every single year. We'll have 14 nonprofits by next November. As you can see, we're expanding. So we are growing in love, right? And we're growing in services. What we do best here is pretty much give aspiration to those who need it, right? We provide services to those who want it, and we collaborate for the best of the best. We have the best in class services here, and we collaborate for the betterment of this community. My job as the new executive of the Ark is really to allow the residents of Ward 7 and Ward 8 to know that this place is theirs. This place is for them. This place is open and ready for them. And as we partner together, I want you guys to reverberate that message to your constituents. The Ark is built here so that we can improve the lives east of the river, period. And I will be judged by that marker. And so I'm happy to partner with Tom, with our council member, with our folks here at the Villages of Parklands to make that a reality. So I want to welcome you. Enjoy your time here. If you need anything here, I'm here for you. We're here to serve. And the Ark again is a place where we can call everyone here can call it home. Thank you very much.
At the end of the day, this really is about people. You spent more than 30 seconds around Councilmember Trayon White. His first service is to the human race. And I'm grateful that we can have a gentleman who, in most rooms in the District of Columbia, I think needs no introduction, but he is certainly one that's worthy of an introduction this morning. And his dedication to the elevation and empowerment of all people, but certainly the elevation and empowerment of people throughout this city that otherwise get judged, prejudged as maybe not even being worthy or capable at times. And he has shown exemplary opportunities and exemplary capabilities to be able to go into any community, any setting, and bring about peace, bring about power, and bring about hope. So someone is going to come and talk about the village concept. Is a man who I've known over 25 years. And, you know, I know his heart, I know his spirit, and I respect his leadership. So can you give a hand to Mr. Jahar Avery?
I'd like to thank all y'all for taking time out of your busy schedules to come and join us. It's a new day in Ward 8. I'm honored to have a friend like Councilmember Trayon White, and our friendship started in commitment. And I'm reminded every day by my daughter, who's 8 years old. She asks me, why do we live here? Why do we live here? As we see police cars and sirens up and down the street all day. Most people in DC don't have this experience in Ward 8. And so it's through consciousness and commitment that me and some of my colleagues, we're destined to stay right here. These streets produced a young man that was put out of school in the 3rd grade when I was 8 years old, kicked out of DC public schools, recommended for Ritalin, said I couldn't accomplish much because of my anger issues, and to have stayed here and weathered the storm, burying well over 1,000 friends and colleagues through drug wars and neighborhood gang activity, and then to be able to develop a mentoring program to help over 130 young people from this community go to college. Some of them you will meet this morning or early in the afternoon as they arrive. One is getting ready to, she was leading a gang in Chopper City when I met her at 14, and she's getting ready to go to medical school.
Amen.
And it was through the village concept. Before her dad passed, he asked me to take care of his girls. And before he passed, he was diagnosed with cancer. I took him to North Carolina to the colleges that I was enrolling his daughters in. And then they became my daughters. Trayon, you know, we just, the whole village, whenever they needed books, whenever they needed cell phone bills paid for. And to me, it became criminal to be able to read and know the kind of money that flowed through our communities, and to see our young people not have the kind of support they need. Like, some people don't understand that them not having access to a cell phone would determine whether they would stay in North Carolina or stay in West Virginia or in Florida, wherever they got opportunity to go to college to better themselves. Them not having access to their parents made a difference in whether they would stay or come. And it was amazing to me how I could go and talk to people and their attitude was, it's not my problem. Like, I'm here to make money. And so I'm here to help what I think is the greatest asset in Ward 8, and that's the people.
Amen.
And I'm looking for good neighbors and people who really are interested in investing in the help in the development of our young people, because I believe that with all this construction going on, the calls that I get, the council member get, 2 and 3 in the morning, young people that we coached and helped develop since they were 5 and 6 years old have been shot. Being in between the parents and everybody knows each other. And I'm not sure how many people in here is aware of the 20 to 30 shootings that go on in this community weekly. The stabbings weekly. And then we have to figure out a way to bury them because the families don't have insurance. People don't have jobs. So I say to the construction companies that are doing work in Ward 8, these projects, you can't imagine 5 jobs, 8 jobs, what that does to a young man who can come and get a check every Friday. He's going to be off the street at nighttime because he has to get up in the morning and go to work.
That's right.
So I'm here to ask you, you know, to dig deep and just make sure that you're fair and judicious as you do business in our community, because the jobs and the opportunities, that's what saved my life. And I'm getting ready to take a seat, but before I do, I want to introduce you to a young lady that I met when she was about 15 years old. I met her at Ballou Senior High School the day that one of her classmates was shot in the cafeteria because it was commonplace that young people bring guns to school in this community. I don't know if you know that at Ballou Senior High School, over the past 10 years, over 60 young people have been murdered. One community, 60 young people. So when my 8-year-old daughter asks me why we live here, it's on me to help correct this and redirect this. Another young lady that just is joining us, this is the young lady I was just speaking about who's getting ready to enter into medical school. She finished her master's at Smith College of Massachusetts. That couldn't have happened without the support of business leaders, nonprofits, and others in this community. So I would like to introduce you to Sharice Crawford. I'm going to put you on the spot. Sharice was the young lady I just mentioned that I met at Ballou Senior High School, and she was so powerful. And so we began to talk about college. I had to get her out of the stolen cars, riding around in stolen cars in Congress Park, where it was shootings every day. And she was so bright, and she agreed to go to college. Went there, aced it, came home, and asked what could she do because of what the community did to support her to go to school. And she became an ANC commissioner. And she has made us so proud. And so I just want you to come and have a few words on the spot.
One, I want to just thank the panelists for having this very important gathering, and I just want to, it's just great to see all of the faces here who hopefully you all are committed to unifying the business district, which plays a significant role in every aspect of community life, down to whether or not we have clean streets and down to whether or not, you know, community families have food. It's very significant to make sure that we can lock our arms together and really move forward as a community. Am I not speaking up high enough? Thank you. I'm usually extra loud. I'm usually very loud, but I'm on the spot, so I'm trying to catch myself. But, you know, Jahar made statements that are absolutely accurate. You know, I call Jahar when we have young guys that won't clean up on the street because they're hungry. You know, and I said, Jahar, could you just bring some Popeyes to help the guys out, because if they have some food, then maybe they'll clean up. And I told them that the Popeyes was on the way and I had a clean block.
Yeah.
Right? So just the significance, you know, or a family who closer to the end of the month, you know, does not have food to eat, and how can we really lock arms as a business district, as a community, to make sure that we don't have hungry families? I mean, I was just looking at the numbers today, Councilmember, about our average medium income is less than $30,000 a year in earnings. That's the average for the person that lives in the Ward 8 community. So then the question then becomes how? You know, and how does that happen in a city that's so significantly wealthy? What can we do differently? What are we not doing? What are we missing? And I think that those are questions that we can start to really look into and answer in this space, and not just today, because we can all have a meeting, right? And then leave the meeting, and then that's just another meeting. But let's just make sure that this is just not another meeting. Again, my name is Sharice Crawford, Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner for 8C03. But before there was ever a title, you know, I lived and grew up in this community. You know, I became a concerned citizen after a lot of bad decisions, right? But there's somebody right now, there's some young person right now making a bad decision that maybe you can connect with, that maybe you can reach out to, that just might transform their lives and be standing here at the next council. So thank you for the time. Thank you all. And,
I've always seen her give of her heart, her soul, and her spirit to people. Not just out of emotionalism and zeal. She's very strategic and tactical in every step that she takes. And she is somebody that a lot of people consider a real backbone of this ward and this community. And I'm glad to call her a friend and a sister. And I'm going to bring to the podium, introduce to a few, but present to most, none other than our sister and a great leader, Dion Bussey Reader.
pleasure of trying to pull the bridge together so that as you're sitting in this room as business leaders, developers, bankers, and community and civic leaders, that it's important that you hear the thread that's running through every voice that you've heard to speak so far. And that is the real key to economic development and economic vibrancy in any community. It's a human capital.
Yeah.
We can't do anything without each other, regardless of what economic scale you find yourself on. And one of the things that we've recognized in working in Ward 8, myself for about 20, wow, I'm really dating myself, about 23 years, is that without the access to the opportunities, the people are perishing. So the formulation of this group was, it was intentional. We sought to follow the direction of our fearless leader, this wonderful young man. And he put the onus on us to figure out a way that we connect the Sharice Crawfords, the Davina Callahans. How do we connect those wonderful young people to the opportunities that many of you all in this room are bringing toward it? So we don't see it as you guys doing us a favor. We see it the other way around. That we're going to build your companies. We're going to help you develop great people through the work that we're doing with young leaders, providing opportunities for all of the wonderful development that you want to bring to this community. We're looking at you all to engage us because we work with these individuals. We built the thread and we see the results. And we're now asking that you help us to see the return on our investment. And the return on the investment is you opening up the doors and providing the opportunity, not for jobs. Jobs don't help people at $25,000 a year. $12.50 an hour does not change the dynamic of a family of 5. So we're asking you to open up the doors for careers. Provide opportunities for our families that are in Ward 8, living in Ward 8, will have the opportunity to excel like many of you guys have. So we're not asking for favors. We're telling you we have a commodity. And the commodity, in order for you to excel in your business, is the human capital. And we've done an outstanding job at developing young leaders to be the next business owners, and your next CEO, and your next president in your business. So with that said, I had the pleasure of meeting a dynamic young man in his early 20s. I'm dating him now. As he was running.
It's okay.
It's okay. But I had the awesome ability, responsibility of engaging a young man when he was walking through the streets of Woodland. And he said he had an organization by the name of Hicks. I try to get him to work for me. If anybody know me, when I see talent, I try to put them into me. And this young man said, no, I don't really want a job. I just want your help. Because I want to save the lives of the young people that I see in any community that I'm in Ward 8. So when I met with him the other day, he said, Dion, don't read my bio. I hate it. So I decided to speak from a place of me knowing him. He was tireless. He was fearless. He was short in stature, but he was a warrior, like 7 feet tall. And I believed in him when he was 23, I think, 10 years ago. And I said, there's something great about this young man. And those of you guys who are believers, not offending no one who isn't, 33 is a significant year for those of us who believe in Jesus the Christ. And this young man is an example of not just the village investing in him taking advantage of the opportunity and seeing the possibilities of his greatness. So my engagement is almost interesting that I've always seen myself as like an auntie to him, but now I'm looking at him like a big brother because he's moving and he's pulling pieces together and he's strategically thinking of how do I connect all of these people so that not just we have one Trayon White, but we have thousands of Trayon Whites. And how do we do it in such a place where it's so dismal? The challenges exist. Every economic negative thing that can happen happens in the community that he represents. But the light that he sees almost ignites everyone around him to believe and do whatever's necessary to push his vision forward. So I'm grateful and blessed that I was one of the individuals that he asked to join this team and push forward his vision to make Ward 8 one of the most economically thriving communities in the District of Columbia. And I agreed to take on the fight. And if anyone knows me, I don't put a challenge down. I see it as every opportunity to me to move myself forward and everyone else that I represent. So without any further ado, we have a small video presentation that we want you all to see as we start embarking on the importance of developing economic opportunities.
I totally agree. There has been a lot of pain, struggle, triumph from the residents of Ward 8. My job as a council member is to use those stories, use those testimonies to fuse them all together to create a great outcome and that God gets the glory. I think that we are in a unique place in history and in time where if we maximize the moment now, the people who are here will have a greater outcome with their life if they just buy into what we're doing. It's not just about social services or a handout, it's about a hand up. And I've got here because so many people from all walks of life gave me a hand up. Whether it's two young men, Keneal Cole and Demetrius Mormon, who come from this community through the struggle, you know, being youth adolescents and getting in trouble in the system, that have started their own business right here in Ward 8 with the help of so many. One, their business is called Stay Down, the other one is called Cool. And through their entrepreneurship spirit and with support, these young brothers are doing a phenomenal job of getting their message out and creating a new culture in their generation about what is cool, what is acceptable, and it's positive in our community. I think there are so many thousands of them, not just young men, but young ladies who are out there with so much ambition, but just need some direction and some help. And DEO is the vehicle we're going to use to make sure we right this wrong and give people direction to getting their businesses off the ground and become a vibrant option for people right here in Ward 8 and across DC. So we expect all businesses, from small businesses to medium to large, to be good neighbors. And that's what we set out to do. My job is, as the people keep me accountable, my job is to keep businesses accountable, to ensure that they're doing right by our people every day, that they are being good citizens, being good neighbors, and vice versa. What we're planning to do here is something that has never been done before in the ward. We had some great people that came before me, Marion Berry, James Bunn, different people that done business in the ward that did a good job. But now it's time to go to the next level, and this is the vehicle to give people the tools, the relationships, the government resources, the community resources to ensure they have success and getting their business off the ground and becoming sustainable. I think the value of human capital is so vital in the success of any business. Take myself for example, as a young man, so many different people from all walks of life invested in me. So when you see me sitting here as the councilman representing Ward 8, know I just didn't get here by myself. That somebody cared, somebody corrected me, somebody rebuked me, somebody encouraged me, somebody gave me books to go to school, somebody gave me an extra $20 to get something to eat. And those type of bridges along the way allows me to make sure I'm a bridge to the next person behind me. And that's for the old, the young, and the in-between, because we are in a crisis right now. If we don't get in position to control the economics in our community, we may lose them forever. And I'm ensuring you this organization, DEO, is in place to make sure that that doesn't happen. So futuristically speaking, in this ward, I see ourselves as 10 years from now, the ward is flourishing, development is here, but the people that are original people, like my family that grew up here, still live here. Not only just have jobs, but have careers. Went back to school, got their education, the crime is down, that we own in our community, that we are part of investment teams. We have the capital to do what we need to do to start up more businesses. And that's what it's truly all about. Because I go other places and I see nice things. I wonder why we don't have those things right here where I live at. Now that's my time not to talk about excuses, but talk about solutions. And together, with the group we have gathered here today, we're going to develop strategies and solutions to make Ward 8 the best place to live right here in Washington, D.C. But I'm excited to be here this morning nonetheless, to empower you guys. My name is Trayon White, for those who may not know me. Part of the reason why we're here today is because for far too long I've sat on the sideline thinking about what I could do, what I should do. And so I had a conversation with a few people trying to figure out how do we create business in our community and empower businesses. I grew up under the leadership of Councilmember Mayor for Life, Marion Berry. And in doing that, I was graced by the presence of people like William Lockridge, James Bunn. We have Rodney Bunn here today. And what I do know is that where there's no vision, the people perish.
Amen.
Right, bro.
And so part of not just having a vision, but having a big vision here for the ward is to empower you guys to do what you do. To put what you do on steroids, as they say. Because everybody got gifts, talents, abilities, and skills. But it's about using my resources and my leverage to help you all do what you do, so in turn, we better our community. I want to start off by thanking some people that's been helping me put this vision together. As you heard from Ms. Dion Reeder, Jahar Abraham, Tom Brown, Ms. Brenda Williams, she's in the back, but she's helping us as well. Antoinette Ruffin, she does it all over there. Mr. Jimmy Jenkins, who's in the back. ANC Commissioner Keon Bassett. Ms. Mikey Bassett, she's here as well. ANC Sharice Crawford. Tom Brown. I mentioned you, Tom?
No.
Tom Brown. I can't leave out Tom Brown, though. I remember when Tom had this whole concept about War 15.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was combining the resources, relationships, and business acumen of people between War 7 and 8. He just made it War 15. And we have a lot of creative minds in the room. We have the best of the best in the room. And this is the beginning of something that's going to be real great. I think that you should be honored to be here today because we just don't want to just be meeting just to be meeting. We want to create partnerships in our ward. Like we did with the Health Council, Mr. Calvin Smith. I had a vision because I know that we have some of the highest health disparities, high blood pressure, diabetes, you name it, we have it. So part of what we did was partner with people like Ernest Aguacho to do different things in different spaces to empower people to start thinking about how we can better our lives. And so we want to continue to do that. Right here at the ARC, we partner with George Paul and do programs right here in this community right here. So this is the beginning of my leadership. I've been in office, what, 8 months, 9 months?
7 months, 3 weeks.
It feel like 3 years. It feel like 3 years. I'll tell you that. But nonetheless, I'm honored because I know the potential we have here in Ward 8. Some people say that Ward 8 is the forgotten ward. I just say we haven't got there yet. And we have a lot of potential. And in the word potential lies the word potent, which means power. The power is here. And as everything got developed and got a lot of resources across the ward, Ward 7 and 8 has enormous potential. And we want to make sure we directing that potential and hold people accountable. Say accountable. 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 Because far too long, people think they can do what they want to do in our community. No, it's not going to go down like that. And that's in layman's terms. And so, when I see people like Chris Palmer, I'm sorry, I'm messing the name up. We want to make sure that we are not just here just to be happy to be the council member or in office. We want to use DEO as the new Ward 8 Business Council to figure out where the gaps are, what do we need to be, what contracts are out, what do we need to shore up, what more resources we need to apply, because I'm getting tired of the narrative that when I hear projects going on, or I hear business going on, we can't find a business to suit that need. So we have to go to Virginia. We have to go to Florida. We have to go to all these different places when we know for a fact that we have everything we need right here in our community. So our job in DEO is to remove all excuses. Say no excuses.
No excuses.
And so what I want to do is start this conversation and learn what each and every one of you are doing. Because I know that we have the power in this room. When I go down Livingston Road and I see barbershops like Mr. Davis Barbershop, we should be expanding that barbershop. We should be expanding that whole corridor. But I know we have people in the room that can paint those walls, that can do the demolition, that can rebuild that can get young people together and old people together to get services. And so, with that being said, today is a great day for Ward 8. I've been anticipating this moment. And I want to say we're not just going to stop with this particular meeting. We're going to have some subsequent meetings coming up. What you heard me say in that video was real key. It was true. It was fact. One thing I pride myself on is being genuine and being real. None of this stuff is fabricated. Where there's no vision, the people perish. So when I hear the stories that Jahar and Sharice talked about the young people outside, I live that every day because I'm supposed to be one of those young people. But it's only by the grace of God that I'm here today.
Amen.
And I should never, ever take it for granted. So what we want to do today is create bridges for the community by empowering economics in our community. Because while I was heavy in social services, doing a lot of social service work, and just tirelessly working 2 o'clock in the morning, fighting for our people, what you don't know is I went to school for business. Graduated magna cum laude with 3.6 cumulative GPA. And I know it takes economic empowerment. It takes capital. And part of my job is to find the resources to empower you, because I know if you all in this room get the opportunity to grow your business, you hire out people. They become executives in your company. They become workers. I was talking to Mr. Greenhill today, and I was talking about how I seen his son, Larry Greenhill Jr., on St. Elizabeth Project, working up there. And I seen 7 young men from my community that played in them 11 Boys and Girls Club with me, working on that project. Those are the type of things we need to do in our communities to make sure we put on steroids to ensure that we got more opportunities to do more. Because we're doing a lot with less. We have a $13.5 billion budget in the DC government. But yet we see that the economic disparity is 80 times higher across the river than it is on this side. And we have to change the paradigm. That means we have to be intentional and we have to be aggressive. Because time is of the essence. I used to say in football, I used to be a football coach. I used to say, well, we don't have all day. If we going to score, we got to score now. And that's one of the things I used to say. I ain't going to tell you all I used to say. But I come from a background of winning. When I ran in my first election for council member, we came up short. And I went to go work in the government. And I started getting a check every 2 weeks. And before that, I wasn't working at all. I was just doing a lot of work, get a check here and there every once in a blue moon. And when I started working, I have a son. I told my mother, I'm about to quit this job to run again. My mother said, boy, don't you quit that good government job. Are you crazy? Because she know I'm going to come hit her up. You know what I mean? But I believe, but it's high risk, it's high return. And I took that risk because I believe that time is of the essence. And I can't sit on the sideline any longer watching what happen in my community. And so, with your help, because I don't have all the answers. We don't have all the answers. But we're trying to find people that care. You can be a good business, but that doesn't mean anything to me. Can you be a good partner and a good neighbor? That's what we're looking for. And those who are not, I assure you, we're trying to push you out here as far as possible. So consider yourself honored to be here today. And not everyone that does good business in the community made it out here today because we kind of put this together. Not at the last minute, but we could have done more planning. But with a great team, you see the room is full with great people. And we want to ensure that we move this train right ahead. And like I said in the video, 10 years from now, we're flourishing. Because what I know is this school across the street, my son goes to this school that's being built right here. I'm invested and I'm dedicated. You cannot conquer anything that you're not committed to. And you're going to see a track record of commitment from Trayon White here in Ward 8. Amen? Amen. You know me saying amen. So, we're going to dine a little bit. We're going to mingle a little bit. We're going to network a little bit. We're going to eat a little bit of lunch. I see they're still preparing the food. But get to know someone in the room. Shake some hands in the room. Get very familiar with the people right here in this room. Because we're going places. And we're not the forgotten ward. We're going to become the best ward you've seen in Washington, D.C. right here, right now. So I want to thank you all for coming this morning and joining me. And I hope that you all, we have another one coming up very soon. We haven't got a date yet. So if you didn't get a formal email invite, make sure we get your contact information. Make sure you leave a card. Make sure you pick up a card. But ensure we have conversations in this room, because there are great people in this room doing great business and doing it out of the kindness of their heart. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with making money. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's about what you do with your money. We have Dirk Colbert in the room. He is a great young man. Well, he's not young as he used to be. But he also works for DSLBD. Is that the new acronym? Yeah, I know I messed it up a few times. DSLBD, and he's a great partner from the executive branch of the government that's going to help us build this thing out. And so I want to stop there, because I haven't eaten this morning. I don't know how we're going to do that. But I plan on doing just that. But mingle a little bit. Feel free. We're family. Say we are family.
We are family.
So I want to be less formal and kind of network a little bit. We want to take a little break and come back for a presentation by Mr. Tom Brown. Thank you.
So we know each other from that history, and it doesn't ever stop. And I just want to say one thing, in case you all didn't know, I put our council member on the spot a couple of weeks ago in this very building. So we have a basketball league every summer called Biz and Hoops. We've been running it all summer long through the organization, nonprofit training grounds I founded and run. And so it's a summer night basketball league every Friday and Saturday all summer, just to keep young people. We have about 100 and some spectators, about 100 or so players. So I thought it would be cute to have the Ward 8 council member to come in and be a part of a three-point shootout competition.
Yes.
And we had young people from primarily ages 11 to 21 in the league, and they had been playing all summer. And when they heard that the council member was going to take them on the three-point shootout, I mean, they were ready.
Yeah.
So he had just come from a long day of serving the community, so it's like 10:30 at night. I'm a little nervous for him, saying, you know, sir, I don't know if you want to do this tonight. He's like, what? I'll do it. I'm like, well, you know, even if you don't win, he's like, listen, I come from winning. That's all I know how to do.
Spread your fingers and snap your wrist.
Exactly what he said. So, you know, night's going on. I'm getting nervous. These young people are really excited. The bleachers are full. People are just looking and say, okay, can he really shoot? But I already know his history. But it's been some years since I've seen him on a basketball court, so I'm thinking, you know, elected official now, you know, who knows? Man, can I tell y'all something? I'm ready to go to the gym right now and take any one of you on to take on this council member for the three-point shooting. And that epitomizes the broad spectrum.
So I won.
Get to the point. Yeah, he went to a sudden death with this youngin' that just knew he was going to be the council member. And what was funny, it came down to one last shot. 3 seconds on the clock, literally, I'm not making this up. And he was tied 5-5 with this young man. And he had to make this in order to win. He shot the thing and looked at me like, where's my trophy, where's my prize? So, but that's what this is about, you all. So again, my name is Tom Brown. Those of you all may know me from other services that I've been fortunate to provide. One that most people may know me for is as Executive Director of Training Grounds, which is a nonprofit that provides training and development, primarily in this great community of villages of Parkland. And really, when I got started, it was just based out of my own personal experience and vision and passion to make a difference in this community of Washington, D.C. that I happen to call home. Now, I had the good fortune of being born and raised here, the native Washingtonian. Can I get any native Washingtonian I missed just to throw your hand up? Yeah. But see, that's kind of what happens a lot of times in the District of Columbia with all the surface dialogue. You lose the fact that there's really great foundation made up in this great city. A lot of times people focus so much on people that just arrived. And I don't see people that just arrived as anything less than great new citizens and new neighbors. Unless they decide, like the councilman said, not to be good neighbors. And we'll deal with that. But the reality is, this is one of the greatest moments that I can recall, not just in Ward 8 history, not just in Ward 7, Ward 15 history, but in Washington, D.C. history. because it gives us an opportunity to stop and slow the world down and create a dialogue that we all co-orchestrate and we are the architects of. So DEO is an acronym for Developing Economic Opportunities, Inc. It's that simple. Developing Economic Opportunities, Inc. And as simple as the name is, the mission is all about the things that this council member laid out in his vision statement. It's really about opening the door, leveling the playing field, and creating opportunities for any and everybody that desires, has the capability, or at least the intention to be a part of this productive time in our history. The reality is, it hasn't always gone that way. Sometimes we've seen the prosperity happen to a segment of our community, but not necessarily dispersed fairly throughout many other great people that I believe were just as deserving in some cases, but they just didn't have the access. And one of the things I know this council member has given us charge is to make sure there's constant access. So when you see somebody from DSLBD, like Derek Colbert here, who knows Ward 8 well, I don't have to coach him about Ward 8, Ward 7, or really the city, and he's in an agency like DSLBD, the CBEs that are in this room that are going to be a part of a great mission in DEO have a good friend and partner that will know exactly the value of why it is we're doing what we're doing. So can I get, if you happen to be a CBE in this room, can I get you to stand at your seat? Just stand right now. If you happen to be a CBE in this room. No, I'm going to ask you to keep standing. I'm going to ask you to stay up. And now I'm going to ask you to take each 30 seconds as to represent and introduce your company to the room.
We have a wholly owned CBE that's called Anacostia Holding Corporation, which is a business entity. We're engaged in a full array of services to help improve the quality of life of residents of our good city, particularly those that reside east of the river. Quick sniff.
Thank you, sir. You'll be in from staying a little bit later on as well. Thank you, sir.
Michelle Williams. My company is Strong Production, and I am a native and a CBE, and I bring to the table many, many years as a broadcaster right here in Washington, and I've taken a piece of that, the marketing and advertising part of it, event planning, and that makes up my business. So I'm one of the creative types. I've been in sales for years and years and years, and eventually I was a general manager in media right here in DC. So I had the sort of the luxury of growing up here, and a lot of people move into different, big markets, but I was born and raised in a great market, so I never moved, and I spent my whole career here. And I'm pleased to see a lot of people in the room that I know. Done a lot of business in go-go and all kinds of things in Ward 8. So I'm pleased to be here, and thank you.
Thank you so much. Sir?
Good afternoon. My name is Clarence Jackson. No relation to Stan. I have a CBE. I started off with my CBE because we partnered with Williamson Smith to build the apartments on that you see up and down. That you see up and down Super Parkway. Partnered with Smith to get those buildings and to be built. So that's what motivated me to get my CBE. Secondly, we have a trucking company, and we own a house on Alabama Avenue.
The first IHOP in Washington, D.C. is owned by you and your family, right, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And all IHOPs in D.C., I believe, in the District of Columbia are owned by you and your family. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes, sir.
We're working really hard. We have trucks. We're trying to do a lot of things. We're basically doing it on a small scale. We'd like to increase, but we're working hard. My two sons and I.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Next, this group here.
Jim Dickerson with MANA nonprofit. We've been out here for a long time doing a nonprofit affordable home ownership primarily. We have a CBE, and this is TC. This is Thomas Cavanis. He runs our home ownership training program, and this is our Deputy Executive Director, Sarah Scruggs, who runs our advocacy department, our marketing department, and works closely with our construction department. We have a CBE construction department, Providence Construction. Am I talking too slow?
No.
Oh, okay. We work with Youth Build, we employ neighborhood residents. Stan's my mentor, and we've been here a long time. We've since the early 80s, late 70s, doing our work with affordable home ownership, and we continue. We've got projects now in the neighborhood, hiring people, training people, and also building equity for people, helping people build equity through home ownership and owning. Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Man, I know you all have some programs you're running specifically in Ward 8 over the last several months. About how many individuals, just as a whole, Ward 8 residents have come through your program in the last year or two?
148.
148 Ward 8 residents.
Right.
Are there any actually getting homes and closing on homes out of that group at all?
So the answer.
Real quick number.
Yes, yes. So the answer is right now, we closed 13 last month. We have 24 more that'll be closing in August and September.
Yes, sir.
Because we're the starting block to home
Yes, sir.
education and counseling.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And so we're not just standing around, we're actually doing something.
I appreciate that. That's why it's important.
Tom,
Sir.
and I'd like to say that my goddaughter that I was speaking about earlier is going through the program now, right, Davina?
Yes, indeed. Excellent.
That's what this is about.
On the way to medical school and a home. Right. Thank you all so much.
Good afternoon, I'm Jeff Griffiths. I'm with City Partners. We've been a CBE since 2005. We're a real estate development company. You may know some of our projects, but we're very excited about doing some things east of the river also in Ward 8 and
Can you
Congress
share one or
Heights.
two of your projects?
So
Just
we're
someone knows.
the developer and owner of the new Hyatt Place in Southwest. We built the fire station at the base of it. If you haven't been there, it's a great fire station to walk around. We have 214 rooms above it. It's a great pool, a great rooftop restaurant bar also. You're welcome to come in. We're integral partners with Monty Hoffman on the wharf. And we have finished some assemblage out here. We hope to be delivering some very exciting retail, residential, and office space in Ward 8. And we've got some smaller pieces that will, of course, keep the lights on. But we're very excited and frankly honored to be here today. And we know we've done some work with a lot of folks in this room and look forward to doing more.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I'll go here, then I'll come to Mr. Ford, and I'll end with Dr. Strong.
All right, Quentin Osborne, Facilities Maintenance Company, been CBE since 2014. We do facility services, commercial roofing, and here looking to get work.
And that's one group I've seen their work, and I stake my name on the service quality. So I definitely can tell you I've seen the work that they've done, and I'm very proud. I think you should have some conversations with some people before you leave the room, because they'll be excited to see what your capabilities are. Thank you all very much. I'll go to Mr. Ford.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Antoine Ford, President and CEO of Enlighten Incorporated. We are a CBE firm doing a lot of contracting on the federal, state, and local governments. We do cybersecurity, system engineering, and management consulting. About 250 people in the company around the country, even some over in Afghanistan and Iraq. And hopefully in the next 2.5 years, we'll be locating our business, partnering with Minketti Group. And about 2.5 years, we will have developed the MLK Gateway project. And so that is the future home for my company.
Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Mr. Najee.
Maurice Najee, representing Serenity and Blueprint Development, and a CBE since 2016. Been doing this work since about 2007. Mainly what we do is create opportunities and knock down barriers for individuals in the city who may not be afforded opportunities, and really focusing on employing returning citizens as well. So we focus on training at the same time.
Hey, my name is Katrina Polk, and I represent Dynamic Solutions for the Aging. I've worked with Tom before. We actually create opportunities for seniors to connect with service providers, to be able to live comfortably in an age-friendly society here in Ward 8. We've also created some new technology pieces from apps down to, we have a video show called Seniors Uncensored that's actually, I want to say co-produced by one of Tom's employees, Scott Brown. And we just look to continue to do work over here, do good work and keep the seniors moving because we want them to understand that their lives matter as well.
Thank you so much. We'll go here and I'm gonna end with Mr. Anderson.
Hi, I'm Damon Strong. Next to me is Al Vons, our Chief Operating Officer. Our company is the ARS Design Build. We was formed in 2009 here in the city, and we've been CBE ever since. Our main focus is architecture, engineering, construction projects. Some of the projects you've seen, we've done the Marvin Gaye Parrot Course for these Parks and Recreation. We've done a couple of dog parks. We renovated Engine 19, and we do various construction projects for the city. Now we're focusing on development, and so we have our development division now, and we're starting looking at development aspects in Ward 8 and Ward 7.
Thank you. So glad you came, man. I know you're doing the thing, so I'm grateful to have you in the room, and thank you to you and your guests. Mr. Anderson.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Stuart Anderson, and I have no idea why the property disposition person with the McDuffie Group has asked me to stand up. Jackie Ward is the property distribution disposition person with the McDuffie Group, and the executive director appears to be still feeding himself, Mr. Anthony McDuffie over there, and they feeding the fish to the wolves. So basically, the McDuffie Group is a management company with a CBE, and we're not new to the terrain, but we're new as a organized group of workers in Ward 8, principally, and really looking at the low-hanging fruit across the city for the development of both residential and commercial property. And if you'd like to know more about what it is we do, you can talk to Jackie specifically as it relates to property distribution. That means purchasing and sale of properties. You can talk to me about management and the general contracting side of things. And you can talk to Mr. McDuffie. You want to stand up so they know where you are? If you want to talk about other aspects of the company and what our great vision is, not only for our company, but also for the ward and Ward 15 and then the city in that order. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think we have one other Maria. She's hiding out. She got here a little late. CBE, this is CBE
I was
introduction.
looking, I heard you say her name.
Good afternoon, how are you? And I apologize for being late. Well, what can I say to Ward 8? I think I spent about 15 years of my life serving Parkside and Park Southern back in the 80s, where it was very hard to have anybody to come and work. And I'm very responsible on saying that Southeast has always been my home and will be my home always. Last year, I spent about almost a year at the Highland Terrace, which it was a renovation done by Marus Brothers. And let me put it this way, anybody that was able to come and work with me from the neighborhood, they did. I encountered many issues, but it was resolved. Therefore, I'm here to serve, and I hope I could be in the list of any projects. Thank you so much.
Can we give everyone, all of our CBEs a hand? DSLVD, Derek Cole, can I get you to raise your hand one more time so they can identify who they might want to talk with? If you have an interest in becoming a CBE, DEO is going to be part of that process, and just want to let you know we have some friendly people in that area. Next group I'd like to ask, just want to do this. If you're part of labor or community organizing, and if you already stood, don't feel compelled to stand with this group. You're part of labor in any way, whether that's a union leader or part of community organizing in any way. As a shareholder, I'd like to ask you to stand at your seat and introduce yourselves. I know we have some in the room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay, Sam, let me start with you.
Thank you, Tom. My name is Sam F. I'm with Unite Here Local 25. We represent hotel and hospitality workers here in the District of Columbia, Northern Virginia, and Prince George's County. But we have a huge amount of members who work in DC, live in Ward 8. This is their home. So I'm certainly going to continue on the theme that Sister Dion said, is it's also about the human capital. And so we love to build, we support building, we support developers building, but we also want to think about those who work in hotels. We had 22 million visitors here that stayed in hotels in the District of Columbia. And that puts people to work, and it puts people to work in Ward 8, and we're here to stay. Just to give you an example, our workers in the hotel union here, our entry-level housekeeper makes $24 at the end of this contract. They'll be making $24 an hour.
Yes, sir.
With 100% employer-paid health care.
Yes, sir.
So we want to put people to work in our hotels as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Sir?
Good afternoon. I'm Larry Greenhill Sr. I'm Vice President of the Electrical Workers Union here in the area. We were in the city for 36 years, but unfortunately, due to economic circumstances, we moved over to Ward 9. Some of you in the room may know what Ward 9 is, but we're located in Ward 9 now, and we represent about approximately 8,700 electricians in the metropolitan Washington area. We would like to have more members in the city. This is where we started. We do have a large number of members living in the city, but my main responsibility for my organization is to make sure that people living in the city, as well as our members outside of the city, have an opportunity to feed themselves, to be trained to become some of the best electricians in the area. So we want to be a part of this community. We always have been, and we look forward to working with DEO. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
John Zotoli.
Uncle Johnny.
Yes, sir. I'm from the Bronx, but I am the father of a DC native. And before I retired, I worked at the U.S. Office of Personnel Management, where I was the president of the local, the American Federation of Government Employees local there. And let's not forget Uncle Sam, because Uncle Sam can be a good employer and a good source of contracts, too.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Cooper, I've been in the IT field for 32 years. I've worked with some of the companies in DC as the infrastructure manager with DCI, which is one of the biggest minority-owned companies in DC now. We went through the LSDBE, the MBE, the CBE, and what I'm doing is working with Tom, Workforce Development. What I'm doing is putting technicians on careers, not jobs.
Yes, sir.
They make $32 an hour.
Yes, sir.
And it changes their life. I've seen it myself. So that's my main goal, my main purpose. I can train them from soup to nuts, turnkey. Anything that they need to do or get done.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. He's outstanding. He's trained several people through organization training ground, and got those people out there working, wiring buildings, everything, fiber optics, cabling, and a number of other areas. So we're excited about that. Mustafa, I'm going to have you share, but I know you have a couple other things. I'm going to have you come up a little later to share a couple other things.
Good afternoon. Mustafa Islam. I have a consulting firm called Community Economic Development Partners. I've worked with Tom and Nally over the years around workforce development. I'm currently engaged with seniors at the Congress Heights Wellness Center around Senior Community Development Committee. And it's an attempt to get the seniors more involved in the development of the community. It's an untapped resource. There's about 12,000 seniors over the age of 55, some of you in this room right now, and we have to find a way to get them better engaged. I think you can really measure the quality of a community by how you take care of your seniors and your children. So we need to use that as an indicator as we go forward.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Very well said, Mustafa. Thank you so much. Thank you all very much. This is just a way Councilman instructed me to make sure we have opportunity for each one in the room to share a little bit about who they are, what they represent. So I want to ask any of the nonprofits, any nonprofit that is in the room, if you would stand and introduce yourself, working with any nonprofit here in the room. Even take time to just share. Thank you. Well, we'll start with Mr. Bernard, so this is house. You gotta
I think I've spent enough time sharing with you guys what we have here. You've seen it. You've seen the development. Again, the message is the ARC is for the community. We obviously are partnering with other nonprofits here. We look forward to partnering with businesses. We have deep aspirations and hope for our young people. We've seen hope actualized and lives transformed, and we want to see that multiplied in the years to come. So, again, we are here with all the services that we provide here for the ARC. This, as a part of my goal, is to also not only to open our doors so that this place can be utilized as it was built to be utilized, but also to create what I believe is a unique model for the country as it relates to sustaining and creating what I call healthy communities. We're poised to really impact social determinants by doing good work here, and as you guys can add to that value that we provide here in your businesses by sharing your lives, sharing your stories, sharing your value propositions, inspiring our young people. I'm open and ready for those kinds of partnerships. So again, welcome to the ARC.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Harold Pettigrew, Executive Director for the Washington Area Community Investment Fund, WACIF. You've heard of it. Been around for 30 years. Community Investment Fund, largely in housing in our earlier days, but now more exclusively focused on investing in entrepreneurs and small business. 3 programmatic focus points for us. First, inclusive entrepreneurship, which is what most folks know us for. Different small business programs, different investments that we've done as a community lender. But the second is community ownership and wealth building. The third is equitable development. And so in the coming months, which is why I'm excited to hear about DEO, very interested in partnering and figuring out ways that we can think through collectively, but also dynamically and creatively about how we use capital to actually move forward some of these initiatives. We have a number of things that are coming online come this fall, including moving or having an office here in Ward 8. And so I got to talk to Stan and a couple other folks about some opportunities. I just put you on the spot. I didn't talk to Stan about it yet, but these are plans moving forward without having a plan in place as of yet. But we plan on having an office that we open up in Ward 8 and be more intentional about our investments. I'm a native Washingtonian. Started out on W Street here in Ward 8, lifelong Ward 7 resident. So this is not only professionally important, but personally important. Also, I'm former director of DSLBD, spent most of my time in government, kind of fighting the good fight on the inside to try to make sure that the opportunities are here for our folks. So looking forward to meeting a lot of you guys.
Thank you so much. Sure.
Again, I'm Stan Jackson. I'm with the Anacostia Economic Development Corporation, a nonprofit that's been around serving in the Southeast community for close to 50 years. So as you see, everybody refers to me as mentor and statesman because I have aged in the process, but God has been good. We do a myriad of things, and one thing that we always do that's central to everything is that everything we do has to be community-centric. It has to be about the benefit of the people that we serve. And so one of the things that I'm so excited about and proud of is teaming with thoughtful, purposeful organizations. And I'm going to put 2 people on the spot who are dear to me because they're very special, because they've allowed me to play in spaces that's very difficult from a capital acquisition standpoint to play in, but for having relationships. And I think one is Lou Dubin with Red Brick, who has been truly a valuable relationship, and our partner at the St. East Project, and my right-hand guy there, Dwayne Miller. You guys can stand up.
Yes, please.
Be humble. These are real committed individuals who seriously opened up their hearts and their access to their bank accounts to do what we need to do. Of course, venture capital and other creative ways in which we engage, like my partner Jackson, even though we may be related somewhere down there. I see CJ. And show you how it's worked. We've collaborated and given forward. CJ has taken my son under his wing, and he is now engaged in the same kind of business and industry that CJ is doing. And so I just want to say that this is more than just a meet and greet kind of affair. What you really see is real action taking place from here. So the relationship that we created through Dan and myself and to Ty, CJ, has now moved on to the next generation, where the next generations now are doing the same thing. So I think that this is the beginning, and DOE could be certainly a platform to show how people of intention and purpose can change the paradigm of this great city. So that's what I do, and that's who I am. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrew Rogers. I am the director of Skyland Workforce Center, excuse me, which is a project of building bridges across the river. Skyland Workforce Center was started through the vision of two individuals. The first being Chris Smith from W.C. Smith. He wanted a place where individuals didn't have to walk on the construction sites of their developments to find opportunities and employment, and then also receive additional services that they would need, wraparound services that would help them not only get employment, but retain employment. And then a gentleman by the name of Bob Wittig, who was the former director of the Jovit Foundation, and he wanted to see if an idea around co-location of nonprofits could actually work. We are now in our third year. We have 5 nonprofit partners that we work with to provide nonprofit workforce development training, and now entrepreneurship training for the residents of Ward 7 and 8. We are located at 2509 Good Hope Road, right on the line of Ward 7 and 8, so we are in the heart of Ward 15. And we are excited about the work that we're doing, because we're now transitioning from just being a place where people can find employment opportunities to converting ourselves into what we like to term as a center for working families. So not only are we providing workforce development training opportunities, but we're also providing financial empowerment opportunities as well as access to government services. So those things will be coming online as we move forward. So thank you all.
Thank you. Mr. Murray, this is the chair of the board of training ground, so if I didn't get to him soon, I might have a little bit of trouble next board meeting.
Before I get started, I want all the people, there are other board members here, I want to stand up, introduce yourself, and also the staff that actually put all this on. I'd also like you to stand up. So introduce yourself, all the board members there, and former board members.
Earl Williams, I sit on the board of training grounds. I'm also on the steering committee for the Skyland Workforce Center. Thank you.
David Fisher, Manager Supply Diversity with Hensel Phelps Construction Company.
Hensel Phelps.
Allie Bird, 17-year Ward 8 resident and 25-year-old Ward 15 worker. And I've been with Tom since the beginning, and then the Ward 8 Workforce Development Council, and so I'm just here as me. Yes, and just ready to keep on going.
Yes, indeed, that's more than enough.
And I just want to say, the value of a meeting like this is that programs like Training Grounds and other programs that exist in communities could not function if you didn't have a series of relationships. Part of it is individual relationships that you develop over time. Part of it is a recognition that in order to accomplish a goal, you have to work with other people. So I think that I like to echo Tom and say that the vision that the council member has in terms of how do we create not just jobs, but how do we create equity opportunities for businesses and people in the community, I think in the long run, it's going to be the way we actually begin to look at how we reduce the wealth gap, how we eliminate some of the historical structural inequities that have precluded people in Ward 15 from doing it. And I think the other thing I like to say is that open yourself up to the possibility that a new vehicle can be a way to again transform communities and also transform lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. All right.
Quentin Osborne, board member.
Sir. Yes, indeed.
I'm not a board member again, but again, I've been pushed to the fore. I'm Stuart Anderson again, and I am the founding director, and I facilitate something called Family and Friends of Incarcerated People.
Yes, sir.
We heard
Talk about
people
that.
talk about providing workforce development and job opportunities for returning citizens. We talked about galvanizing human capital, and we started out with a conversation delivered by Jihad about this kind of village type of moving forward, and how people like Sharice and others have been able to turn their situation around. I think she said bad choices. And so what we do through Family and Friends of Incarcerated People is we try to fight intergenerational incarceration, something that if we have listened to the councilman, you know, part of what he was doing before he became councilman, when he was in the trenches, he's still in the trenches, so I'm not going to say when he was in the trenches, but a prior period of being in the trenches was about responding to a lot of the negative things that happened here in this ward and in Ward 7 and across our city, but more so in Ward 15. So that's what Family and Friends of Incarcerated People do. We just try to latch on to young folk to keep them from getting into prison in the beginning, and hopefully be able to direct them, as Jihad had done, to some of the different vehicles that could embrace them, that could sponsor them, that could pour into them, so that they might turn into, you know, young people like Sharice Crawford. And so I again thank you for the opportunity to share some of what I do. And the last thing, before somebody else pushes me out my seat, is I do also want to say that there is another problem in Ward 15 that we haven't talked about, and that's business individuals and entrepreneurs. We need to be focused on the problem that we have with access to good groceries. When we look at the structure of the access to groceries in this city, there is a huge problem. Because in 7, there are 2 grocery stores, right? One Marshall Heights and one Skyline. That's 7 for those in 8 who don't know that. And then we have one in Ward 8. That's the Giant. And a lot of times, you know, what's shipped to those stores is not of the best quality, and we need to do something about that. And so Bridgeport has reached out to me and asked that, you know, I come to the table and work with them and a large group of others. And if you get a chance, talk to my friend Calvin Smith. He can tell you more about what I'm just embracing
so everybody
to
doesn't know
address.
who you are. Most should.
Yeah, and so that's something else that this body of people need to rally behind. How do we deal with the situation that there are 6 stores and Calvin, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 in Ward 2, with 3 new stores on the table, 1 in Ward 8 and none on the table. You know, that there are another 6 in, was it Ward 4? And 2 on the table to be opened up, and only 2 in Ward 7. So that's, I'd like to leave y'all with that, and I promise I will not get up my chair again.
Thank you. I'm asking you all to speed up your piece. It's already after 1. I have a couple of wrap-up things we have to get to. A couple other people I have to get to. So if I can get you all to keep your introductions to literally 30 seconds, it'll be great. Ms. Lyons?
Good afternoon. I'm Pamela Lyons, Senior Vice President of Community Impact Strategies at Community Preservation and Development Corporation. I'll test you on that when I'm done. It's a long list of names. But we're affordable housing developers here in the District of Columbia. We, as a matter of fact, own 1,000 units here in Ward 8 and overall more than 5,000 units in the Washington metropolitan area, including Baltimore, Richmond, Chesapeake Beach, Norfolk. My responsibility with the organization is to partner with those of you in the room who offer programs and services to residents to support employment and housing stability. Before I sit down, I'd like to urge you, we're really proud of a makerspace that we opened 2 months ago here in at the Overlook over on 9th Street. For those of you who aren't aware, a makerspace is a creative space that we hope will spawn small business entrepreneurs to take products to market so that where they can't find employment, they can create it themselves. So at any time, I'd be happy to show it to you and share it with you.
Thank you so much.
Good. Be really quickly. Several nonprofits I've been part of. On Ramps to Careers is one that we're very happy about. We had over 100 kids. Its whole purpose is to get kids into technology jobs. We work with SYEP. We had over 100 kids getting tech jobs this summer. We're involved in Downtown Clusters Geriatric Center, really trying to make sure that we make the lives of some of our elderly more important and happier. I'm on the board of directors for the U.S. Black Chamber of Commerce. And so I have the Eastern region for most black chambers from here up to New York. We're involved in potentially, and we're talking about starting a Black Chamber of Commerce in Washington, D.C. I'm the former chair of the D.C. Chamber of Commerce. There's some creative things that we're going to do there. And then as well as ensuring that we are looking at the MLK Gateway Project is currently going to start a nonprofit aimed at incubating companies, workforce development to get them into careers and really focus on entrepreneurship both in technology and real estate and commercial real estate.
So glad you're here. My sister, yes ma'am.
Vicki Davis. I'm the president and CEO of Davis & Davis Advisors. I have working now with a contract with Life Assets. Life Assets is a nonprofit that helps entrepreneurs to get their seed money. So we do loans from $50 to $1,500. Right now my office is in Skyland on Wednesdays and Thursdays. I also teach entrepreneurship classes. I have access to capital, so I'm a former banker for 30 years, so I have access to capital for entrepreneurs and small businesses if you need it. And I also am a credit guru, so anything credit, whether it be personal or business, I'm the person that you want to talk to. Also about to work, have a contract with SBDC, working with Stan, to also help their entrepreneurs get access to capital.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. My name is Abdul Ali, and this is Sister Henna Zuberi, and we're from the Rashidun Foundation. And what we do, we're in the street. We're in the public housing area. If you want to come inside the public housing area and see what's going on in the area, you can get with us and we'll take you directly into places like Woodland. We'll take you into Benning Terrace. We'll take you into Potomac Gardens. We'll take you up on the Park of Doom, up on Martin Luther King Avenue and Malcolm X Avenue. These are the areas that we serve, and what we're into is human development. We want to build a better human being. The world is in the condition that it is in because some of the human beings are not being good human beings. And what we offer is a pathway out. If you need a pathway out of undereducation, come see us. If you are unemployed, come and see us, because you might not be unemployed, you might be unemployable. And it's a difference between the two. And those are the ones that we want to work with. We have adult basic education, life skills, family matters, full religious program, veterans program. And after talking to one of the brothers here, we're going to bring on a senior citizen program because there are a lot of seniors east of the river. And one of them told me one time, she said, we are senior, not decrepit. So what we have to do is we have to get these people out of the house. And one of the things we presented a program not long ago that a lot of these seniors, they have a wealth of information that never got passed on to generations that came behind them. So if we bring them out of the house, look at the information, the history that we're going to bring back to the free society where we can, help bring people up. Because people need aid and assistance, and we have a food and clothing pantry that we take to the neighborhood. You don't have to come to us. We're going to bring it to your neighborhood. With that said, anything you'd like to share?
No, we just opened up our, we work under the umbrella of Rashidun DC, and one of our projects is a community center on 600 Kenilworth Avenue. Do come and visit.
That's right across the street from the Kenilworth Public Housing area. And I was born in Gallinger's Hospital, so that makes me a Washingtonian first class.
A couple of people that have to say a few words, share a few words that are already part of the council member's vision and DEO, and I'm gonna have him wrap us up with closing remarks and get us out of here. So I need Mr. John Deadweiler, Lou Dubin. If you hear your name called, please come to the podium. Lou Dubin, George Pollard. Actually, I want to ask Dwayne if you would join Lou. So representing Union Temple Baptist Church, Mr. John Detweiler is actually a trustee. He just has a very important announcement that's going to be important to DEO. I'm actually keep it brief.
Good afternoon, everyone. Trustee John Deadweiler, on behalf of Pastor Willie F. Wilson, we're very, very proud to announce today that we're partnering with Mr. Brown and the DEO as the phase 1 of the workforce development training program that we'll be launching in late September to begin this process to equip residents of Ward 7 and 8, specifically of Ward 8, to begin equipping them with the tools to become eligible for employment opportunities with several of you in the room. Very quickly, our initial program will equip residents to become OSHA 10 certified building maintenance, property managers, apartment leasing, concierge. We definitely want to provide talent for the hotel pipeline. And so again, we're very, very excited. And this is an extension of over 44 years of Union Temple's social footprint in this community. And on behalf of the pastor and the leadership, we're very, very excited to partner with DEO in this effort. And we look forward to transforming lives. Thank you.
And also, there's 2 houses that we'll be occupying that the church has presented to us to actually occupy and run our operations and programs. The 2 of the houses on Pleasant Street.
Absolutely.
That was the biggest part. You really blew it. I'm next, Mr. George Pollard and William C. Smith, who've been a great partner. When you talk about workforce development, you talk about corporate citizen. I can't think of many others that can lead the pack in Ward 8 other than William C. Smith. You've heard the name all day, but I want to George Pollard, who's been the project manager over our workforce development project over the last several years, to just share his vision of what good corporate citizenship has looked like in Ward 8. Okay, you're done.
All right. Good evening, everyone. This has been a great meeting, and I'm glad to be a part of it. My name is George Pollard, and I work for William C. Smith & Company. I oversee the Villages of Parklands, which part of my portfolio. I have about 1,700 apartment units there, with a population of probably about 5,000 people. And of course, it's a mixed use. I have conventional, affordable, project-based Section 8, so forth. So what comes with that is what you say is a very challenging job to do. And to, and of course, with Ward 8, it has its, being in this area, it has its challenges with crime and just a lot of things, the social ills, what I call it. But for the most part, we do have some great people that live in our communities. And to keep this moving forward, we've partnered with Training Grounds, and we've tried to produce, as a company, we know it's more than just bricks and mortars, we build communities. And so what we try to do is give them something to do so they can be on the right path, on doing things, moving in a positive direction. And one of the things, as we mentioned what Councilman White was a part of, was that we booked the gym here at the Arc, where on Friday and Saturday nights, we had somewhere for our young kids to go. And so that was something that our company sponsored to keep the kids. And believe it or not, I think it's been about 7 years, it has lessened the amount of vandalism I've been having over the weekend, the activities that have been out on Friday. This is on Fridays and Saturday nights. And I've watched some of the young kids, get on the right path, get on honor roll, and do different things when they come to the office. And that's one. And I have one more thing that I want to highlight too, is that we usually have outside contractors, and they usually are people that are not of our background. They come here and clean our communities. We contract those out. And so my company, Chris Smith and John Rich, empowered me to challenge Tom Brown to take over these contracts and hire. But the deal that he had to do, he had to hire the guys from the community. So that was his challenge. And And of course, as I watch the guys go through cleaning the...
And ladies.
Yeah, and ladies, true. And I'm a little tough on Tom because I hold him to the same standards that I would hold any contractor coming into my communities to clean these properties. And so far, he's doing a good job in keeping up with these guys. So those are just some of the things that we're doing, partner. And it's been a challenge to keep the neighborhoods thriving and also at the same time making a better community and good citizens in our community. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. I've been at Parklands for 16 years, and I really enjoy the work and the partnership that we have with Training Grounds, and I look forward to many years of doing it. So, thank
you. These two gentlemen represent a portion of, along with Stan Jackson, a portion of the St. Elizabeth's development team, another portion, Grand Cardona Partnership. They were here earlier, they had to leave. So I just want to ask them to share a few remarks in reference to their intention and vision and some of the efforts that's already in place to be a part of what the council members laid out today. The next voice you will hear with one other guest, and then the council members will close us out.
So good afternoon. I'm really excited to be here. I mean, it's time. It's time because I see a lot of friends and partners. I know we're doing the right thing because I see a lot of people that we're working with. And it's a wonderful day. What we're doing is really quite straightforward. We're the master developer in St. Elizabeth's. We're also developing the Columbian Quarter. Some of you know that as a development on Howard Road at Poplar Point, and named the Columbian Quarter. And we are hopeful in the fall to have that approved for many buildings that are going to be very important for the community for decades. So a lot of work here. We started engaging the community really early on. We found a lot of great companies, great people. And one message today for some of the people that are in my business, doesn't have to be in the ward either. You're in the ward, you're doing business. There are lots of great businesses that can go wherever other businesses go in the region. It's important then, once you get to know different companies, and if you're not doing construction this year, but you got something somewhere else in the city, give people a chance in neighborhoods that you're going to be going into, especially newer neighborhoods that you haven't been in before. Because then you get to know them, then you won't be afraid if there's a $20 million contract. You haven't worked with the people before, so you got to give it a start. And we've been doing a lot of that. We've been listening to Tom and council member, and his leadership is the real thing. I mean, it's the real thing, and it's infectious when you see it. Two more thoughts very quickly just to leave you with. A third of the new job growth in the District of Columbia is east of the river. Now, I know some of us don't like east of the river, it's just sort of a geography thing. Third, most of that is Ward 8. 1/3 of the new job growth in the next 4 years, right here. That's about 14,000 jobs. That's not Louis Dubin or someone else making it up or pointing at it. This is all coming at DHS. About 4,000 of the 18,000 are already there with the Coast Guard. In the next section of jobs with Homeland Security, I heard some people in the cyber and the IT world, oh my gosh, you can't believe the contractors that are starting to talk with us. I had the great honor with the council member to spend some time with Homeland Security. We're getting them on the local workforce, March also. It's something we all need to do. It's something we all need to push. It's extremely important. And I want to challenge everyone in here that has a business today. We'd like in the next month for your organization, I already talked with another one of your partners in the organization, let's do 2 internships. We'll give the transit, we'll pay them, kind of a wage. Let's get 2 high school kids that are coming to work at Red Brick. We can figure out whether it's 3 days, 5 days, we can work with them. But 2 kids that want to learn how to build buildings. So we're committed to do that immediately. And my challenge is, everyone in a business that can give an internship, go do it. Make commitments, go see Tom. That's how you're going to change things. It's by action. So my partner, Dwayne Miller, who is going to be responsible for about $50 million in construction, starting, and this is in Ward 8, at St. Elizabeth's, starting in February, March. So this is the man, and Dwayne? Yep.
So my background, I actually used to work for a community development corporation, so I came from the not-for-profit sector, was a youth minister, loved Jesus, really cared about the youth. Actually, 25 years ago, just got involved with coming up with an idea of how to take dropout youth, get them back into school. And we as a CDC were just building houses, right? So we'd take a couple houses, connect with the high school, come up with curriculum, and half their time working on building a house and half the time actually getting education. Well, that program ended up, it was a pilot program out of Boston, out of Gary, Indiana, and Indianapolis, Indiana, and it's out of that Youth Build came out of. So I've been around creating investments in people. I'm an accountant by trade, but I just leveraged, so eventually 18 years ago I hired Flaherty & Collins to manage our portfolio as a not-for-profit, but then they hired me, and so ever since then I've been just leveraging the real estate of Flaherty & Collins to pull off 35, 40 deals, creating jobs, opportunities for those that are in need, and bringing the jobs to the local area. So that's the background of who I am. That's going to be working with Stan. I've worked with Stan for 3 years now. We're in the ward at the office every other week, or almost every week now, because we're really pushing hard to close on the financing of St. Elizabeth on the 252 units of multifamily. It's 350 square feet. It's a big monster. But we pulled together public-private dollars through this tax credit with historic tax credits as well as affordable housing.
And Dwayne, if I may say, one of the most incredible things, 250 units, 80% are affordable. You heard me. 80% affordable, 20% market. It was appropriate. It was right in the three different bands, the 30, 50, and 80. So, I mean, this is the real thing. It's all coming, and that starts actual reconstruction, repurposing in March.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Started at the Barrel House on 14th Street back in the 60s. Actually, probably goes even further back. We have Tony and Joe's, Nick's Riverside Grill, Profish, and our latest venture was Ivy City Smokehouse, which is a building we built in Ivy City, obviously, that now has 75 employees making food that goes to supermarkets, hopefully in 7-8 soon enough. And we're here looking, because we are going to be expanding. We currently specialize in seafood, but we're going to be expanding into doing smoked meat production and whatnot. And what we really want to do, and what we've done in Ivy City, is gotten down in the neighborhood and brought jobs to the neighborhood. And people from Ivy City, I think there's 15 or 16 actual residents that work for us now. It may not be that high at the moment, but it tends to go up and down. But what we are is members of the community once we get in there, and what we're doing is looking and beginning to listen and beginning to feel and try to find the right place in 7 or 8 to hopefully bring our business skills and help the community and do what we can to give a little bit back for what Washington's done for us. Thank you for the moment.
I want to thank Cheers at the Big Chair for providing us food for their giveaway. Local restaurants, we always like to support businesses in our community, was really the purpose of us being here today. Those who have sponsored a lot of the things that's happening here today, I want to thank you all for coming out. If you haven't signed up out front, let me say this, please sign up out front, put your information on there. And if you know other good partners, please recommend those, because you don't want to leave anybody out of this movement. So please make sure you leave their information as well. I see Commissioner Holcomb has come as well. I want to raise your hand, sir. You came a little late, but we want to welcome him and Mr. Nelson as well. But there's a lot of other business in the room. For those who didn't get a chance to present, please network afterwards. I know we have to leave this room, per se, to get out of here, but we're committed to excellence in this room. And I want to overemphasize, we have everything we need in this room to make this war great. You heard some remarks from Mr. Dubin. It's going to be billions of dollars spent in Ward 8. Not 100 million, not 400 million, it's going to be billions spent here. Our job is to make sure you all get in that pipeline to get a piece of a piece. Y'all, you all okay with that? So stay connected with us. I'm a council member, so I have a lot of different pieces I do outside of business development. But nonetheless, we're trying to create arms to do a little bit of everything to ensure we on top of it. So stay connected. For those who don't have my contact information, I'd like to leave you my email. If you don't have it, it's on the website, but it's twhite@dccouncil.us. And for those who don't have my cell phone number, I'll leave that as well. I do have a few cards, maybe not enough for everybody, but that's 202-702-6946. Again, that's 202-702-6946. We have a lot of different businesses. I know we have Mr. Plummer that does a lot of home improvement and construction. To Will owns the barber shop and security company. We have a lot of different businesses in the room. And we want to reconvene again. We're trying to do it again next month. We're trying to be very progressive again next month to come with a strategic plan to lay out how we're moving forward. And so I'm glad you all came out here today. I want to thank you all for coming out. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you.